Hey folks, how you all doing? So today I thought I might try and rank the 14 studio albums by the Queen of Pop, Madonna. I've got my little bling cowboy hat on today as opposed to my usual one, simply because she is a disco queen, a gay icon, etc. So I thought I'd wear that as paying homage to Madonna and her fans. So I'm doing the 14 studio albums. I'm not including the I'm Breathless album, which was part soundtrack, part studio, for the Dick Tracy movie, and obviously the Evita movie soundtrack. And I think there was another one she did as well. Can't remember, but anyway, it's just the 14, straight 14 studio albums. So I've been listening to these over the last month again, in the car, a couple of days for each one, and I think I've finally got some sort of ranking for the 14 studio albums. So let's go. I mean, your rankings are going to be a lot different than mine. Mine are going to be different from yours. We'll hear and see things different, but overall, if you're watching this, you're a fan of Madonna, right? I'm a fan of Madonna. It's just different things that we like by Madonna. So let's go. At number 14 on my list, of her most recent album, Madam X. This was released in 2019. It's her 14th studio album. Trip hop, art pop, world music and dance on here. There's a hell of a lot of auto-tune and the use of vocoder. I'm not a big fan of serious auto-tune or vocoder. To me, it sounds like these songs were a bit rushed, just weren't fully developed. So this album gets a 2 out of 10 from me. There's nothing on it I do like. That said, I do love the album cover. I think it's an absolutely fantastic album cover. Number 13 on my list, we got 1994 for her 6th studio album, Bedtime Stories. Sounds to me on here like she's trying to emulate the UK house and acid jazz scene. It's good to see her branching out into different styles back then at that stage, but I just don't think it worked totally. Not everything works all the time for every artist, and I don't think this worked totally. I do like the songs Forbidden Love, Human Nature, and Take a Bound, the title, Bedtime Story. Other than that, it's a pretty forgettable album in my opinion. 4 out of 10. Next up, we go to year 2000 for her 8th studio album. This time we're looking at music. It's electronic pop, it's EDM. Just feels slightly, because I was listening to them in chronological order, from her debut album through to Madam X. This one just felt like a step backwards from the Ray of Light album, which was her 7th album. Ray of Light was an incredible eclectic album. This one just seemed going through the motions of what she'd done before. Some great songs on here. Music is absolutely brilliant. What else are we looking at? Nobody's Perfect, really good. Love the song Gone as well. Amazing, that's another really good song. The problem with this album is the abysmal cover of Don McLean's classic American Pie. Who the fuck let Madonna record that song and think she was adding something new to an absolute rock classic? I don't get it. For that reason, this album comes in at 5 out of 10. Number 11 on my list, we got 1992 for her 5th studio album, Erotica. Lots of doof EDM, house, trance music on here. Not the greatest album. I do like Erotica. I love her cover of the old R&B song, Fever. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Deeper and Deeper is quite a good song as well. Yeah, the rest are just pretty run-of-the-mill. There's nothing really bad on it. They're just run-of-the-mill tracks apart from those 3 or 4 I mentioned. But it does come in at 5.5 out of 10, so it does make the passing grade. At number 10 on my list, we go to Rebel Heart, released in 2015. This was Madonna's 13th studio album. The album is split into 2 halves, really. The first half is dance music. It's EDM, it's electronic pop, etc. The second half is full of slower tunes and ballads. Not overly keen on the first half. I'm not a fan of dance music, to be honest with you. But the slower tunes and the ballads, which make up the last half of this album, are really, really good. Favourite songs on here: Heartbreak City, that's a really, really good song. Wash All Over Me, and yeah, they're 2 real standouts for me on this album. But yeah, pretty good album. It comes in at 6 out of 10. I also love that album cover. That's absolutely fabulous in my opinion. Another great album cover from Madonna. At number 9 on my list, some people might think this was a bit low. I actually thought it would rank higher than it did, but you know, it is what it is at that particular time when I'm listening to it. And I have the 4th studio album, Like a Prayer. This was released in 1989. Solid pop album here. Has a more sophisticated feel than the previous 3 albums. It's a very mature album. Yeah, you know, Like a Prayer had the very controversial video associated with that one. Express Yourself, great pop song. Dear Jessie, Oh Father, Cherish, which was very 1960s, almost Motown type sound. Just a really, really good album. There were a couple of songs on here I'm not overly keen on. I can't actually. Act of Contrition was one of them. Pray for Spanish Eyes was another one. And that's the only thing that lets this album down. Just a couple of tracks I don't like. But this one still comes in a decent 7.5 out of 10. Next up, I really thought this album would come in a lot higher, but then everything can't be a lot higher. It's got to be in some sort of order. So we have Madonna's debut album, self-titled, Madonna, 1983. Very, very good, light, breezy, summery sounding pop tunes. It's got that horrible, dated, early 80s production to it, but these songs still come through, thankfully. Still a pretty decent album. Lucky Star, Borderline, Burning Up, Holiday, Physical Attraction, all really, really good songs. Little did we know back then what was going to happen a year or 2 later with her success. We just didn't have an idea. We just thought she was another pop singer. But yeah, really good album. 7.5 out of 10. Number 7 on my list, we go to her 10th studio album, Confessions on a Dance Floor. This was released in 2005. All dance songs on here. The album flows absolutely seamlessly and flawlessly from one track to the next. It's almost like one piece of music. I'm not saying they all sound the same, but just the way they end and then start into another song, they just flow so endlessly. I think it's a great album. It's a sort of album that a DJ at a nightclub could have just put on and just let run all the way through, and people would just continue dancing. It's just really, really good album. There's some samples on here. BG samples, ABBA samples, Pet Shop Boys, Depeche Mode. They enhance the tracks, they don't overtake the tracks, but yeah, very, very good album. Hung Up, Sorry, How High, 3 best songs for me on this album. Very, very good album. Comes in at 8 out of 10, which means I love it. So from that, top 7 albums I love. So it's half of her catalogue that I actually love, which is really good for an artist that's released so many albums. Coming in at number 6 on my list, Hard Candy. This is her 11th studio album. It was released in 2008. It's the usual pop dance type songs from albums that she was releasing at that period of her career, except this one has a fresh sound, thanks to co-writes and production on most tracks by Pharrell Williams, and also Justin Timberlake comes in for 3 tracks, produces and co-writes 3 tracks. Really, really up-tempo, positive sounding album. That's what you get with Pharrell Williams. You get up-tempo, really positive sounding songs, and this is no exception. This one contains the super hit 4 Minutes featuring Justin Timberlake and Timberland. Candy Shop, yeah, it's good. Give it to me. Brilliant. Heartbeat, just a really, really, really good album. Yeah, not overly keen with that cover. A bit skanky in my opinion, but Madonna is skanky anyway, I guess, so suits her. But at least it's the only album of that type that she's released in her career. Great album, 8 out of 10. Next up at number 5, this is one that a lot of people, when I've seen Madonna rankings, I've watched 4 or 5 of them after I'd collated my list to see where I stand with mine compared to other people. This is one that a lot of people put near the bottom. I actually love it. It's MDNA. It's a 12th studio album, dance pop. Sounds quite retro in places. It's got that sort of vibe where you could go, oh, those songs could have been on True Blue. Oh, those songs could have been on the Like a Virgin album or the Holiday album. It's very retro-y sounding without sounding cliched and retro. It sounds modern and fresh at the same time. It's a really, really good latter day album, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like this album. A lot of fans don't like it, but I'm pretty impressed with it. Girl Gone Wild, really, really good song. Give Me All Your Lovin', really, really good song. Just trying to think of another one I can mention. Yeah, it's just so many really, really good songs, great songs on this album. 8 out of 10 again. Number 4 on my list. I actually wasn't sure where this album was going to go. It's one of them albums I sort of love sometimes and don't like other times as much. But it's Madonna's 4th studio album, second studio album, Like a Virgin, released in 1984. This one actually turned her into the bona fide international superstar that she became, and she has remained there ever since for the last 94, 04, 1, 4, 2, 4, 40 years basically. You can't knock Madonna in any way. Incredible pop album, sold 21 million copies, had 5 super worldwide top 5, top 10 hits on it. Absolutely incredible. Got Material Girl, you got Angel, you got Like a Virgin, Dress You Up, Stay, absolutely brilliant. You've also got an incredible version of the old Love Don't Live Here Anymore song, which is as good as the original in my opinion. But yeah, great album. Nothing wrong with it at all, just incredible album. 8 out of 10 again. Number 3 on my list may surprise a few people, but I've got to 2003's American Life. This is her 9th studio album. This one was actually written in the shadows of 9/11, and the subject matter reflects it. It's almost a concept album. All the songs deal with, the loss of the American dream and the allure of coming to America, coming to Hollywood, etc. Just the glitter and glam of it all, and being shot down in flames as what happened in 9/11. So yeah, concept album, very serious lyrically. This one also contains the theme song from Die Another Day, the MGM motion picture James Bond 007 movie. I'm not keen on that song, but I do love just about everything else on this album. Hollywood and American Life, by far the 2 greatest tracks on this album, but just about everything on here is really, really good. This one comes in at 8.5 out of 10. 2 more albums to go. Die Hard fans will know what's coming up. These 2 albums could have gone in any order on any given day. So after I finished the listen from the debut album right up to Madam X. I listened to these two again just to weigh them up, and on this occasion, number 2 on my list is her third studio album, True Blue. This was released in 1986. There's Latino music on here, there's pop, there's dance, there's ballads. There's a couple of tracks where she sort of pays homage to the girl groups like the Shirelles, for example, from the 1960s. It's pretty much the perfect pop album. It's also her biggest selling album with 25 million copies sold worldwide. I actually had that the wrong way around. It should actually be like that, sorry. Papa Don't Preach, Open Your Heart, the brilliant ballad Live to Tell is on here as well. La Isla Bonita, just great. There's not a bad song on here. The only song that sort of lets the album down for me is Love Makes the World Go Round. Is the final track. It just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of the album, but it's still a good track. So yeah, this one comes in at 9 out of 10 for me, ranked number 2, which means my favourite Madonna album of all time. It was released in 1998. It is her 7th studio album, Ray of Light. Very mature album, excellent pop vocal range and control. I think she sort of recorded this one just after she'd done the Evita soundtrack, with Don't Cry For Me Argentina, and that, which she took actual vocal coaching lessons for, to increase her vocal style, vocal range, vibrato, blah blah blah, etc etc. It shows on this album. It contains pop, dance, new age, world music, electronica, ambient music. It is by far her most eclectic sounding album, her most mature sounding album. Even the cover is absolutely brilliant. All those elements and all those styles actually work together. They flow seamlessly and effortlessly throughout the whole album. Best tracks on here. You can't go wrong with the thumping disco, almost prodigy sounding Ray of Light song. Then you got Frozen, Little Star, absolutely brilliant. Drowned World, Substitute for Love, absolutely brilliant. Absolute Skins, another really great. They're all really great songs on this album. But yeah, just a really really good album, and for me, Madonna's best album today. If I'd have done it tomorrow, this might be her best album, my favourite. So you know, these are basically neck and neck in my opinion. This album obviously comes in 9 out of 10 as well. Anyway guys, leave your comments in the comments section below. Are you a fan of Madonna? Where would your favourite Madonna albums rank compared to mine? Anyway, bored you for 18 minutes, so thanks for watching guys. Stay safe, take care, all for now, catch you around, and bye folks.